Welcome to the Business Outlook Survey press conference call. I'm Tom Elliott with the Public Affairs Department. With me today is Mike Trepping, Senior Economic Analyst in our Research Department. Today, we're going to talk about what manufacturing firms had to say about business activity in August. First, Mike will give us a summary of today's report.
Good morning. The indicators from our August manufacturing survey suggest that regional factory activity continues to expand this month. All of the survey's broadest current diffusion indexes, with the exception of shipments, were positive this month, suggesting growth from July levels. Most of the broad-based indicators were positive but fell from their relatively high July readings, suggesting more moderate growth. The general activity and new orders indexes, however, have been positive for 3 consecutive months. The broadest indicators of future activity continue to reflect optimism about growth for the next 6 months, although they too fell from July readings, but they remain well above their average levels for the last year.
Thanks, Mike. We're going to open it up to questions. Stephen Joyce, Bloomberg BNA.
I've got 2 questions, actually. The first one is from your the comments made by the respondents. Was there any indication of why, even though the general business activity index was positive, why it moderated sort of downward? That's the first question. And then the second question is on the employment indices, the two. Both of those turned south, so I was wondering if there's anything in the comments that tell you a little bit about that as well.
Right. The comments that we receive are generally are general comments about trends, and they rarely make comments about the specific indicators, but are talking about what's happening to their business in terms of demand. So, as much as it's reflected in orders, perhaps, but there was nothing in the comments to suggest explaining wiggles, I guess, in the diffusion indexes. However, the comments were generally consistent with a more favorable picture month to month this time. And I did note that the number of industries that were reporting growth, in their comments at least, were a little bit higher than usual. So I think the comments in that sense backed up the general positive numbers the last couple months. With regard to employment, right, we had especially a fall off in the percentage of firms expecting employment to grow over the next 6 months, but more back to more normal levels, I suppose. We had almost 41% last month expecting growth, and it's down to about 29%, which is a little bit more like what we've seen in the past. On the current side, we did have a fall off in the employment index, although it's remained positive for a couple months. However, it was attributable to an increase in the share of firms reporting declines in employment. We actually had a slight pickup in the share of firms reporting employment increases. So there's a little bit of color there for you, Steve.
Any idea of what the Workweek initiative?
No comments about the Workweek, and it's been wiggling around, and they're a little bit more difficult to read in the July and August numbers because of the shutdowns and slowdowns that we normally see. So I wouldn't make too much of the difference in Workweek. Although, as you did point out, it did also turn negative. But I didn't mention that in the broad indicators. Didn't include that in the broad indicators in the earlier comment.
I suppose more than 6 and 10, no change.
Right. Yeah, and so we have a large share, 63% indicating no change, similar to the share we see in the employment question.
Right.
Any other questions, Stephen?
No, thank you.
I just wanted to quickly draw attention to our special questions section for this month. It addresses summer production and seasonal slowdowns. And Mike, how can these results help us interpret current business conditions?
Right. We've been asking this question for a couple months, and of course it illustrates, I think, the difficulty in reading some of these manufacturing numbers in the summer months, especially July, because we have this month about 36% of the firms that did validate that they had slowdowns and production reductions related to seasonal effects, which is similar to what we saw last year. And the special question dissected those firms in terms of whether production decreases were greater than usual, and slightly more firms indicated that they were larger than usual, but the vast majority of those firms indicated that they were about the same as in the past. However, we did ask them about August also, and we did see, compared to last year, a significant reduction in the share of firms with slowdowns this month, which is probably attributable to an expansion path in manufacturing compared to last year. So it does also help us interpret the July and August numbers a little bit.
Thanks, Mike. Stephen, any follow-up questions on the special questions section?
None.
All right. Thank you for calling in, Stephen, today.
Thank you both.
Yeah. Okay, look for next month's survey at 10 a.m. on Thursday, September 19th.